What up, everybody? I know it's kind of late, but this was the best time for me to get with the sister who we about to be putting on right now. Where's that? Okay, okay, let's go there. And so we want. I've been talk. I know me personally. I've been wanting to get my son like the more information I find out myself, the more I want to take my son out of public school because they don't teach our kids really. I mean they I think they more train our kids. They more train our kids. Teach them. And Vanessa is coming on right now, and I met Vanessa through Black Community of Portland. There she go. Hey Vanessa, can you hear me?
Hey, I can.
Okay, good,
I
good.
can hear
Because
you.
sometimes it'd be all toe up and stuff. And I was just saying, telling the
It's
people that it's late and everything, but we about to get it in. And I was just telling them how I met you through Black Community of Portland, and matter of fact, it was Black Community of Portland, and I was talking about homeschooling, and somebody tagged you, and I. But we was already talking though for some reason because I was like, yeah, I've been talking to her, but we hadn't met in person yet. And I was just talking about how I was like really excited to meet somebody in the community doing homeschooling and stuff. But this is about you. This one's gonna be about you. So I'm gonna let you tap in, and I'm gonna first ask you to introduce yourself. How about that? Because you also got a side hustle too. That's hella dope. So talk about that briefly, but don't be playing. Don't be trying to make this into a sales pitch, damn it. But go ahead and introduce yourself and let the people know who you are.
okay. Go grab me a product or a jar of body butter or something. Okay, never mind. So my name is Vanessa. Hello, everybody. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a mother of five. I live in a community. I have a business called Just Be Natural. I make all natural skincare and hair care products. Oh, thank you. She brought one of my jars over. This is Dark of the Berry body butter that I make. Some of y'all might be familiar with this label and this product. So that's what I do. So that's what I do. So yep, that's me. That's my daughter, Brazil. Brazil, say hi. You don't want to say hi? Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna start off with why did you take your kids out of school?
So I took my kid out of school because, so first of all, they were going to a charter school, and then we moved from a charter school to a public school. And I got pretty involved. I was, going to classroom, volunteering in the classroom. Then I started going to PTA meetings, and I joined the PTA. And then the next year, I was voted in as vice president of the PTA. So I was pretty involved, very involved. Like I said, I was very much in my son's classroom. I wasn't so much in my daughter's classroom just because they have some rules about classroom and parents dropping in on in their class. So I wasn't really able to get into my daughter's classroom the way I wanted to, but I definitely was in my son's classroom a lot. And what I saw disturbed me. So both my kids were on IEPs, individual education plan, and so when I walked into the classroom, I would see my son, getting his workout, and half the class would be like, say it was a writing assignment. Half the class would have like a whole paragraph, a whole page full of writing, and my son would just have like one sentence down the paper, and I'm just like, he's so far behind, but yeah, I saw the rest of the class is kind of just moving along, and he's just kind of like straggling. Then we had an IEP meeting, and the specialist was coming to me and talking to me and the teacher about my son's progress in school and his testing results. And one, he couldn't remember which kid was my son, so that was disturbing. So I'm like, you're talking to me about my son, but you don't really know which kid is my son. So how are we even having a conversation about my son? And he was misquoting stats and misquoting just a lot of information. It was very disturbing. I left that meeting very disturbed. And so basically, once my eyes became open to how my child was slipping through the cracks, I said, well,
Right,
I have a
right.
choice to make. And that's what it really came down to. I have a choice to make. I can choose to look the other way and not, and just keep on doing what I've been doing, or I can choose to take action. And I
That's
chose to take action.
interesting. Go ahead, cook. Keep on cooking.
So I chose to take action. And in me doing so, I wasn't working a traditional 9-to-5 job. I was at home, so I had the capacity to bring them home because I was already at home. But my days were filled with making my products and preparing for my business, so I had to put some of that on hold so that I could take them home and homeschool them. So it was a bit of a sacrifice, even though I wasn't working, and I understand the struggles of a single mom or even a family, two working parents. I understand that struggle, but I didn't necessarily have that going against me. But it was still a sacrifice, to bring them home and to give up, my quote unquote free time or my business time, to give them that time that they need to learn. So yeah.
Right. I think it's really interesting because you said something, you were an involved parent, right? I think that's
Yeah.
really important because you just wasn't, because a lot of times our schedules are so busy that a lot of us as parents can't just stop into our kids at schools and check on them. Can't just be just really, really like that positive helicopter parent, not the helicopter parent that's overbearing on their kids, but the helicopter that's like, no, I want to know what you're doing. I want to know what's going on in your life type. But like, I know some parents who are like me who like, I have a different perspective on it. I know what's being given to my son and my daughters, right? I know the education that they're giving them and it's nothing about them. You know what I mean? Like I remember I went to the first Black Parent Night at the school and they was doing all this talking and stuff. And while they was talking, it was in the library. I just turned around and picked the first like history book that I got and I opened it. And something that it said, one of the first things that I saw was it said that Africa, Asia, and America had no communication until 1492. I was like, and as they talking, I just like bookmarked that, and I was like, no, I don't think the problem, because they was talking about how like it's not so many Black and people of color suspensions and everything else and all this other stuff and this, and they was talking about all this behavioral stuff. And I was like, well, I think the problem is academic. When you got this, and I showed them that, and the principal, it was a principal that he was like, oh yeah, I know, and like it was nothing. And I'm like, this is so important to me, because me personally feel like part of our issue as Black people in America in general is that the education
system. I'm having a little bit of difficulty here, but keep talking.
Okay, because it started getting real staticky and stuff. I'm telling you, Facebook be crazy. Once you start really cooking about some real shit, I'm serious. If this just start breaking or something, y'all, it ain't my fault. I mean, I'm at home in full Wi-Fi, and this shit will get cracked. I'm serious. You laughing, B, but this shit is serious. But
if I point to my ear, that means that I can't hear you. How about that?
Okay. All right. Seriously though, man, Facebook is crazy. But and I noticed that, and they said it like it was just nothing. So it's like the system knows what it's doing to our kids, and it's intentional, and it's very very intentional. So it's just really about. So I was like, I got to get my son out of here because I feel like I'm not being a good parent if I know I'm bringing my child into harm's way, if I know I'm bringing my child into something that's infecting them with negativity. Why would I'm being a bad parent if I just keep on throwing them in there? So that's what I'm doing, and that's why I was talking to you, and I think you got hella knowledge. I know you've been in it for 3 years, but I think that you are the knowledge for homeschool. So now my next question for you is, what do y'all do all day?
Can I interrupt you real quick?
Of course.
Circling back around about involvement, you're right. Some parents are working full time; they can be involved, but getting to know your child's teacher is key. Even if you work 9 to 5, and you can just get their email, shoot them emails. Hey, this is Betty Smith, and I'm interested. How's my kid doing? And just touching base with through email or whatever you may have. You're going to the events that they hosted in the evenings. No, thank you. Going to the events that they have in the evening. Whatever you can do to try to connect with your child's teacher is key if your child is in school. And then something else I wanted to bring up too. It wasn't just the academic piece of the schooling that made me kind of frown. It was bullying. It was my kids started becoming materialistic, I noticed. It wasn't until I switched them from their charter school to King that they all of a sudden knew what a Jordan tennis shoe was. And they came home talking about, I gotta have a Jordan tennis shoe. And I'm like, you've been wearing Kings all your life, and now you want a Jordan tennis shoe? They're like, yeah, Mom, we want to be cool. And I'm just like, wow, this is not what I was signing up for. So
That's when
it was a whole
you
bunch
get
of little other
socialized.
pieces.
We get
Yes.
socialized. That's how we get socialized into consumerism and American ideals. That's exactly what that's crazy. Flipping upwards though, what do you guys do in a day of homeschool? Like what's your strategy? How you work?
Oh gosh, what don't we do? Okay, so, whew. Okay, so we do a typical like day at home first. So a day at home, we do some workbooks. Let me show you some of the books that we work with. Hold on, got some of our math stuff. So workbooks go, for instance, we have, these are their grammar books. These right here. These are from Kamali Academy. And this is fun. This is Brazil's workbook. So Brazil don't like workbooks, but she got to do this workbook. So when it's time to do her workbook, she hides her workbook sometimes because she likes to learn out.
Terrible.
So I always say Brazil. You see the little boy on the cover. I always say Brazil.
Uh-oh, see? Here they go. She just disappeared. I'm telling you, Facebook is a mug, y'all. Facebook is a mug. But she was cooking about the Kamalia County, and I'm gonna just pause here because the Kefir Academy is coming. The Kefir Academy is coming for real. The Kefir Academy homeschooling is coming. Believe that. Let me see if I can add her back. Come on now, cause I ain't about to pause it. Where you go? See, I'm thinking Facebook was gonna get me. It didn't got you. Let me try to add you again. Yeah, it's saying no. It's saying no answer. Vanessa, maybe go off and then come back. Oh, man, you see, man, right when we get to cooking, man, and this is important too, y'all. So I'm gonna stay on. So this video is gonna be hella choppy. It's gonna be hella choppy because she had to leave. And yeah, it's saying that I'm not getting no answer from you. I don't know if you can hear me right now, but it's saying that I'm not getting any answer from you, Vanessa. Okay, got you. Now you should be on now. It's saying no. It's saying what the hell? Approve. Add. It's saying no answer from live video guest. Approve. Add. Oh my God. I'm telling you, right. For real, BFG. Seriously, now I got us sitting up here looking all silly and lost. Right when how can I, man, I don't want to have to approve. I keep on approving you. They'll receive an invite. Then it's saying no answer from the guest. It's that weird stuff because I already invited you in and booted you. Shit, I think we are gonna have to do another one. I think we are gonna have to. I'm gonna just start over because I want to get the people what they want. Damn it! So we're gonna get the people what they want. I'm about to start it over, y'all, cause they playing with Vanessa and we need to get this knowledge from her.
All
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
Vanessa.
We about
Sorry,
to
y'all,
start over.
man. She lost her connection. I'm thinking they was gonna get me, but they got her instead. They said we gonna stop this. That's what we gonna do. We gonna stop y'all from thinking y'all gonna educate some people about a different way. That's what y'all gonna do. Y'all not gonna just come in here and act like y'all doing something. Not today. But come on back on, Vanessa. Hopefully you straight now, cause my connection is solid. So come on back. I think we was at you was talking about your kids' workbook. Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Already invited you. You should have the invite. Okay, there we go.
Let's get it.
Okay, here we go. I'm
Don't
back.
be playing. Look, man, we had the people. We was giving the people what they wanted, man, and you just
I
disappeared.
know.
I was talking
I'm
about them doing it to
sorry.
me.
Okay, they're back. Hey, Paula. They back.
All right, let's.
Okay.
You were talking about the workbook.
So,
That was like one
so,
strategy.
so London has this as his grammar book. So these are both from Kamali Academy, and we do these. They are phenomenal, and I love these because they are African centered. Like for instance, let me pick up this one.
Hold on. Can you spell Kamali? Isn't it K-A-M K-A-M
It is.
K-A-M-A-L-I?
It is KAMALI
Gotcha.
Academy.
All right.
We can tag him later on in this. For instance, let me just give you an example. Let's see. For instance, naming parts of a sentence. It'll have sentences like Baba Malik cuts his grass, and Baba is dad in Swahili. Or it'll say, this one is cool because it says Zaire plays in the park, and Zaire happens to be her big brother's name. So that was really neat for her to see that in her book.
Right.
I mean, there is no book in the public school system that you're going to see an African-centered name like Malik or Asia or Baba. You know, you're not going to see those names. So I like the fact that they can relate to this book, like they can see themselves in this book. So those are some. Math is a little tricky. Sometimes we use this book at times. So it just has different, math equations in them. But
Math is one of those things that are like universal, though. You know what I'm saying? Math is
math is universal. So I make these charts for them. I take poster board paper and I just draw up some whatever equations, and then we just kind of work on them together. But for math, we go to the grocery store and we'll like weigh vegetables and fruits in the grocery store, and they'll figure that out. We'll figure out the sale price versus the regular price and what the difference is. Or they'll go to the front and they'll go to the cash register, figure out the total, and they'll get the money out or whatever. Recently we went to a workshop where they worked on wood, and she made a plaque. I can't find it. I had it out here. She made a plaque, and she had to use measurements, and she had to use different tools, and she had to use rulers, and she had to figure out, the space in between, and that's math right there. So those are some of the things that we do. We also,
No, go
we
ahead.
We also do field trips. Like a girlfriend of mine, Dana. Hey, Dana, she's watching. We went on a field trip together to the Oregon Trail, and we were working on this book too. This is about the Donner Party that trekked across the Oregon Trail and all the things that they kind of went through. So we went out to the Oregon Trail in Oregon City to their exhibit or museum that they have. And it was pretty exciting. They had an exhibit on African Americans on the Oregon Trail. So it was very in depth, and we got to pack a wagon and just see how people lived during that time period.
Yeah.
We've also taken field trips to like the art museum and the museum and OMSI and the historical museum downtown. So we do a lot of in the community type things as well.
Okay. Now, didn't you also mention, I remember you mentioning there was a time when we had our personal conversation, we had a conversation and you mentioned that you were a flight attendant or something at one point, and y'all would do traveling field trips too. And that should have me really, really envious of that, But touch on that a little bit because I could see that being so dope and educational. Like just seeing that there's different places as opposed to just Portland
Yes,
or Oregon.
yes. Exposure is everything, and I'm gonna keep talking about my friend Dana because she's been a pillar to me in my homeschooling and unschooling journey. She really has. Exposure is everything. Like my girlfriend Dana, she's lived in Jamaica. She's lived in what's the place in Asia we want to go to? Thailand. So exposure
Listen here,
is key.
Vanessa. Are you
Exposure,
saying that I
yeah.
need? Are you saying that we need to disconnect you and I need to talk to Dana? Am I talking to the wrong person? Am I talking to the wrong person?
No,
Man.
no, but I'm just referencing somebody else. You know what I'm saying? I'm just letting you know that
Yeah.
I have a community of support. That's all I'm saying. So no, I was not a flight attendant, but yes, I did work for the airlines, and working for the airlines is an amazing discounted rates and for free. You don't necessarily have to be a flight attendant. You can work at airlines doing whatever, ticket agent or cleaning airplanes or putting on luggage, whatever job you have with the particular airlines, not the airport, you get flight benefits. So we were privy to flight benefits. So we could actually just get on a plane whenever we wanted to if there were open seats, and we could go. And we did. We went to Oakland. We went to the African American Museum in Oakland. We went to Washington, D.C., and we saw the Smithsonian's. We went to Boise, Idaho, went to a museum there. So we definitely took advantage of it. We were always in Seattle. We definitely took advantage of that benefit, that privilege. It's really about seeking and finding ways to expand your world beyond what you have here in Portland, Oregon, or wherever you're at. Just being creative. That's really came down to. And I saw an opportunity, and I was like, let me just jump on this opportunity and do this. You know?
Man.
So yeah.
So next question I wanted to talk about was like learning styles, and you mentioned like unschooling and or debunking. What is that? Touch on that a little bit.
So debunking is, so once you pull your kid out of school, so when your kids are in school and they have to raise their hand to go to the bathroom. They have to eat when they say eat. And they have to eat what's given to them, and they have a certain amount of time to eat. They got a small window of recess. What was it, 15 minutes of recess? So debunking is kind of like flushing all that out of their system. And traditional rule of thumb is for every year that they've been in school, you debunk for a month. Some people might see that as extreme. You have to decide for yourself what's the best way to debunk, but you kind of want to flesh that out of their system. Like my kids were at home and they were like, well, can I use the bathroom, Mom? And I'm like, this is your house, go to the bathroom. Like they had to retrain their minds about how we wanted to structure our homeschooling. And I had to restructure my mind too, because school is all I knew, right? That's all I knew, because I went to school. My older kids went to school, so I had to also retrain my mind as well. So debunking is good, not just for the kids, but for the parents as well, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. It makes perfect sense. Now, something else about that. That was a sidebar. Dang, man, it completely left me too. You mentioned debunking and unschooling. Shoot. Man,
Difference between unschooling and homeschooling? Is that what you're going to ask?
Something along those lines, but that's a good point to touch on anyway. Talk about that. So homeschooling is more traditional. Homeschooling, like I said, you have, workbooks. You might even subscribe to an online curriculum. So it's more structured. You might wake up at 9 o'clock every morning and, the kids have their breakfast and sit down at the table and do their work. They might have a teacher online that they check in with. There's a lot of free curriculums online. Connections Academy is one that I'm familiar with. So that's pretty much homeschooling, Unschooling, however, is learning through life. It's kind of like, there's so many things that school does not prepare you for as an adult. Like how to buy a home, what's credit,
you know, credit would necessarily prepare you for those things. So unschooling is more of like just learning through life experiences. I mean, we have a lot of African American pillars in our society that had maybe a third grade education, and they went on to become great, you know, entrepreneurs or great inventors and whatnot. So that just goes to show you that you can be self-taught, or you can, you know, learn through the non-traditional system.
Okay, now I want you to tell us about the resources that you use. We got the Kamali Academy, but what about other resources, even some online resources that may not be Afrocentric, right? Like go ahead, touch on some of the resources that you use.
Okay, and I know a lot of people are wondering, like, how does Vanessa come up with all these ideas and places to take her kid? I know people are probably wondering that and asking that. Simple. I'm gonna give you some real simple tools. Y'all ready? Simple, okay? Simple. Eventbrite. If you haven't heard of it, look it up and download the app. It is phenomenal, okay? Eventbrite is like a platform for like everything happening in your city, and you can customize it to wherever you're at. So if you're in Oakland or if you're in Phoenix,
and that's Eventbrite, correct?
Yes,
is that how you spell it? Eventbrite. Event and Bright, Brite. Just so y'all know. Yes. Keep on cooking. I just want to make sure that they have that information right.
So I'll be on Eventbrite some nights, and I'll just be scrolling through all night long, and I'll filter, like I'll click on free events because I don't like to spend a lot of money. So I'm gonna find out what's gonna work for me and my budget. So I'll click on free events, and all the events we go to are not necessarily structure, you know, are catered to kids. Like we might go to like I had signed up for a home buying class. So there's lots of events out there that you can pick on that might be interesting to you, or you just want to expose your kids to some new language. You know what I'm saying? I have the best education in school. I didn't gain a lot from my schooling, so my vocabulary in my home is limited. So do I want to keep my kids with just the limited knowledge that I have? Absolutely not. So I want to get around some people that talk differently, have different language, have different educational levels, you know, so I want to expose my kids to all that. So I might go to something I don't know nothing about, just so we can go and hear some new words.
Right.
we literally, we went to an event downtown, and I'm sitting in this event, I'm like, what are they talking about? I didn't know what they were talking about. They were talking about something. It was some event we went to downtown. But Brazil got the microphone, and she asked the question of the panel. I mean, it was awesome. It was awesome that she was brave enough to do that. You know what I'm saying? And she learned added some words to her vocabulary. I mean, it was a phenomenal thing. But had I let my fear seep in and be like, well, we can't go to that because I don't really know what they're talking about. I don't really know what that's about. You know, I would have missed out on the opportunity of seeing my daughter step forward the way she did. So Eventbrite has a ton of events on there. So check it out, seriously. And I know Nikki Brown, she's in California now. Check out Eventbrite, Nikki. You're going to love it. Some good stuff on there. I know you're already doing some fabulous things already. Another thing I do is Facebook. Say if I go to an event or I'm interested in an event, I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of that page, and it's going to list other events that are similar to that. And then I'm going to click on one of them, and it's going to list some more events. So I just kind of piggyback off of that. And I'll just show up there. So Facebook is my number one. Eventbrite is also a number one for me. Library is one that has some wonderful resources. In fact, they have open computer room, usually like 3 or 4 days a week at your local library. So check that out. So yeah, those are some of my key go-tos as far as resources are.
Okay, now this is Go ahead.
I want to just looking for a community in the PDX Vancouver area. Yes, Yandy. Am I saying that right, Yandy?
We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there.
We're gonna get there.
We're gonna get there.
Okay, we're gonna come back to you. Okay.
We're gonna get there. She's just way ahead. But thank you, Yandy, for your participation, because you asking the right questions. But this is important too, before we go there. we want to talk about though, because just because you homeschool your kids, there Yanni. I thought she was saying yawn. I'm like, damn, girl, I was just giving you props and now you yawning on us and shit. Get your ass out of here. But thank you, Yanni. But
No.
I'm just messing around. I'm still ignorant. I wasn't homeschooled. I went to public school, so I'm very ignorant. But talk
Hey,
about
Kimberly.
how you still have to test your children. Talk about that part.
Oh yeah. So I made a post about that, but I'll talk about it. So homeschooling is so testing 3rd grade, 5th grade, 8th grade, and 10th grade. But here's a caveat of it. So say for instance, for me, I took my son out of school. He was in 5th grade when I took him out. We left right after that Christmas break. We didn't come back that January. We was gone. So in the middle of 5th grade, so because testing is 3rd, 5th, and 8th and 10th, so he would have had a test. If he would have been homeschooled prior to that, he would have to test the end of 5th grade. But because we took out in the middle of 5th grade, you get an 18-month window to get familiar with your new surroundings and your new learning environment. You have an 18-month window where you don't have to test. So we skipped that 5th grade test because we didn't have to take it because it was within that 18 months time frame. Okay. So the next testing period would come up in the August after he finishes 8th grade, which for him would be August of 2019. So not this August, but next August. So that's pretty much how testing works, and there's testing all over. You can look into it more. I'll tag a link on here later on about where you can find that, or you can scroll through my Facebook and you can find that too. There is a fee associated with testing. Depending on where you go to test, is how much you'll pay. So it just depends on where you go to test. I don't know if there's any free testing. I don't know. There might be some like scholarships or whatnot. I'm not sure. I haven't gotten that far into it. Me personally, I'm not a huge fan of any kind of testing. So I don't feel like testing shows what a child. I don't feel like testing really shows what a child knows, because let me give you an example. I went to a meeting about schooling, and they brought this up, and it was a really good example, so I'm going to use it. So say for instance, there's a test about there's like a sentence, and the word garage is in that sentence. Little Johnny pulled up to the house, and the garage was blocked. Okay. So and then you have to give the definition of the meaning garage, right? But say you have a child who grows up in an apartment complex, right? All their life, that's all they know, apartment complex. Their kids live in apartment complexes, right? Or, a tall story building, and they've never had a house with a garage. So that child is at a disadvantage because some of the language used in, I know that garage is like probably a petty example, but I'm gonna use it anyways. But some of the language that's used in the testing is not privy to children who are not exposed to some of the vocabulary. So
Facts, no, and that's another way though that like separates us. Because I'll give you another example. I was listening to a podcast earlier today, and it just so happened to be about our schools failing Black kids. And the guy was giving an example of how how the SATs are just warped, and it was actually a product of a eugenics movement. But we ain't talking about that, so I ain't gonna go there. But he had said, "What does saucer mean?" Right? And if you grew up with parents who wasn't publicly educated, or parents who didn't read a lot or read to you, when you hear saucer, you'll be like, "You mean a flying saucer?" And I didn't, you know what I mean? A UFO, you wouldn't think of a little plate that a cap lap some milk out of, right? Some people really don't know stuff like that. That's just like one example. Like when you hear and us as Black folks, we use different slang and different words for different things. You know what I mean? So like, no, some people really don't know what a saucer is, right? So just little things like that. If you don't read a lot, or you're not well read, a lot of things we really don't know. And when they give us these standardized tests that's saying what the standard is, right? It's like, to whose standard? So basically,
yes.
My philosophy is, as long as we keep our children and ourselves in public domains and public education, then and we're gonna keep on coming across. Where did you go? Where you go? Vanessa, you was playing way too much. Like, really? How the heck you just disappeared? A plate. Right, right. Man. Oh my goodness, this didn't happen again. We need to talk about the co-op. Man. Okay. Right. Hey y'all, seriously. We really need to talk about the co-op. So I have to do a part 3 and it ain't gonna be that long, but we wanted to chop it up about a co-op. And by co-op, we was talking about like a community homeschooling thing. And I'm gonna have to hang on. She's trying to come back on, but it won't let her. When I say approve, Vanessa, it says they'll receive an invite to join your broadcast. And when I put add, oh hold on, you might be coming back. It looked like you're coming back.
Back.
Hey, it worked this. Okay. Well, listen, you can't be just disappearing.
Okay, I figured it out. I had too many apps open. I closed them all up, and I'm using my Wi-Fi in my house instead of the Wi-Fi on my phone. So we should be golden now.
What do you mean? See, I'm trying to have a good, clean production, and you looking at apps, you looking at Netflix, you got
No, they were running in the background.
Okay, well, let's keep cooking for everybody. Think that is over with and turn off. I'm glad you came back too. What were you? I think I was still talking about like as long as we keep on going. I think that's a huge part of us though, because we say education, right? But by the time a lot of us get educated on, I'm gonna use the word consciousness, right? Or we could say,
Right.
well, I don't know what word that I want to use, but I'm gonna just say once we come to be awakened people, it's already too late because we got so much white supremacy in us, we got so much self-hate in us, we got so much destructive behaviors in us that it's already too late. So once you start getting these truths, it's like, no, I've been taught this for all my life, for 18 years, 20 years. Like now it's like all this truth coming and everything inside you is saying, nope. Nope, that ain't the truth because I was taught that Christopher Columbus. Nope, that ain't the truth because I was taught that our forefathers.
Yes.
Nope, because I was taught the Gettysburg Address, right? Like all this BS that they give us. So the earlier we do this, I think the better. Even if it's like an after school thing, get some Kamali Academy stuff for after school type or something, man. Because we get bombarded with the same stuff, so we keep repeating the same thing. We still keep on raising dope dealers. We keep on raising pimps. We keep on raising hoes. We keep on raising people that just want to get turned and just shake their booty, right? Like, and it starts with education. Like you said, once your kids went to a certain school, now they want Jordans. You know what I mean? Now they want to be cool. They want to be popular and stuff. It's not teaching us to be kings, queens, and just sovereign individuals. But I'm gonna stop preaching, and we're gonna talk about the next topic, and that's in what, because like when I think about it, I see the problem is universal for black folks, right? And I'm like, I'm gonna take my son out of school. That's just my son though. It's a gang of black kids in these schools who need to be taken away and homeschooled. So how can we do something where it's a community of Vanessa's, of Larone's, and I want you to touch on, I kind of skipped this. I want you to touch on, because I still work. I'm still on the plantation, right? I work basically nine to five, and I don't even know how I'm gonna do it with my son. He's 12. He'll be 13 in October. I don't even know what I'm gonna do, but I know that I'm doing the right thing by homeschooling him. Damn, man, I'm skipping all kind of stuff. Okay, I want you to be brief on these because I really promised the people that we're gonna go to co-op. First, I want you to touch on, because some of this stuff I know, but I want you to touch on it because you've done it. I want you to touch on how you could still have your kids enrolled in certain classes in school as they homeschool, like an elective or a band or something like that. Like, touch on that. Or should I just say that you can't do that and people could look it up themselves? What do you want? What do you think?
Well, yeah, it's a thing now. Yeah, so if your child is homeschooled, then yeah, they can go to their neighborhood school. I believe Oregon just passed a law to where they can go to any school, but
Word?
check that out. I believe
Okay.
that's what just happened, like just
Oh,
the
that
other
is
day.
crazy though. That is
I
tight
called
because we go to a sister
because
school.
I called Fabian like a week and a half ago, and they were like, "Sorry, you're not in our district." And I was like, "Oh, okay, that's a bummer." But
Yeah.
I'm to my understanding, just about a few days ago, they just passed it to where they can go to any district. But check on that. So yeah, if your kid wants to come home and it was offered to me when I was home, when I took my kids out, the principal did not want to see us go. So she said, well, your kids can come for elective. And I was like, well, okay, what you talking about? What we working with? And she's like, well, we have technology. I'm like, ooh, technology.
Right.
I was like, tell me more. Because I'm like, okay, I'll sign them up for technology. And I was like, well, tell me more. Because I'm thinking, like, my kid's been in this school for like a couple of years, and I never heard nothing about on technology. Like, what does that mean? And so she was like, well, it's library. And I was like, library? I was like,
Hey,
but you
that's
didn't say
hilarious.
technology. Like, I want, like, you said technology. I want technology. She's like, well, that's what we call library. I'm like, okay, we're out. So for
But
me, it wasn't enough for me to stay because
right.
they weren't really offering enough.
I was
And
right, right. I was
yeah,
thinking
so
'cause some parents could be really, really skeptical about their science skills or math skills, or like my son,
yes,
he's in band. So I'm thinking, and it also still gives them that
yes,
socializing with the other kids and stuff too. So my main thing is just teaching them more about his like when it comes to social studies. You know what I mean? Really, that's like the biggest one, because that's when they get full of all the lies that make everything about America great again, type
right,
stuff, and just the never having any black teachers. All of that
right.
is harmful for our babies. So that's my main thing. But I still would like them to go and be able to go and do band and go and socialize with the other kids and stuff.
For me, it just wasn't worth it. I mean, they were offering PE 30 minutes a week. I mean, we do way more than that at home.
Right, right.
And like I said, the whole library thing, like I got books, we can go to a public library. Like to me, what they were offering me wasn't worth it for me personally. But like you said, if you're is involved in band or dance, my kids were really into that. And the band that they were offering was after school. So I just didn't
Right.
take them upon the offer because I didn't feel like they were offering much at that
There you go.
particular school.
Okay.
So, but
Now
it's available. It's out there.
now let's get to the co-op conversation. Talk about any experience you have with that. Have you ever thought about it? Have you ever been approached about it? Or what would be your idea to make something like that actually work? How could something like that
Okay.
work?
So first, I'm gonna talk about my experience, and then I'm gonna talk about what I feel would work. My personal opinion. Okay. Hey, Daryl. So I was invited to a meeting with a group of people, and we were discussing the possibility of starting a co-op. And then certain things started coming up in the conversation that kind of made sense. The space that we were going to be using, who's going to man that space? That space has to be manned because parents work, you know. So liability, the child gets hurt, you know. Who's that going to fall on? What kind of insurance is needed for that? So a lot of things kind of play into that whole conversation. It's not just about, I mean, it can be about that, but when you get to the broader scope of things, it starts to get detailed and it starts to get sticky. It really does.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that whole project kind of fell through. It didn't really surface into anything.
Yeah, because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of
It is
work.
work.
That's
It
what
is
it comes
work.
down to.
And like I said, because parents work, somebody will have to man that whole project, from 9 to 5, So that would take somebody who's willing to put in that kind of work. And, typically it would be ideal if parents could, switch off. But if parents are working
Exactly.
5 days a week, 9 to 5, how can they really, come into the classroom and really give, give back and be a part of that holistically. So that's challenging a bit right there. So my personal opinion about a co-op, okay? A co-op for me, with my vision and how I see it to work and be successful, it would have to be first grassroots. I feel like
Of
it would
course.
have to be grassroots. It would have to be like-minded. I mean, you have to have like-minded parents. You have to have somebody who's dedicated 9 to 5, because it almost turns into like not a child care watching thing, but again, parents work, so somebody's got to be there to watch, to trade off. I don't know how that would work. Maybe a grandmother or an auntie or somebody who's not working, a stay-at-home mom or something, where
And
a
that's what
couple.
that's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking. It'd have to be either a stay-at-home parent, mom or dad, an elder, a retired. I know we have retired actual educators in the community, male or female. But then, like you said, we have to think about, what about food? What about diets? What about compensation? I would want to pay the people if they taking on 3 or 4 or 5 kids. I think that's worth paying. You know what I mean? And then we need people dedicated for transportation. Even if it's a bus driver or somebody with a loose job where they got an hour lunch or something like that, drive and pick up the kids and drop them off at home. You know, but then you got to think of the age difference. It's a lot that'll go into it. But I just think it'll be so beneficial. It'll be so dope, man. And it could even be small, but I would like to see it on a big scale, like us just literally be educating our own kids. I think it'll be so dope and so powerful, and I guarantee we'll see a change, because we got to start with the generation. Because I know a lot of my focus is being on like knocking on these. I heard a sister say earlier, like, we got the people who sleep, and then we got some who drowsy, who listen to you a little bit, and their consciousness is being tapped, but they drowsy. So it's those people who I want to reach, but it's the kids. Because if we keep, like I said, if we keep raising the same kind of Negro with a European centric mentality, we just keep on going through the same stuff. Because we could talk to all the adults, but these kids is coming up listening to this trash music, looking at these trash shows, and having these trash mentalities, man. That's just destructive.
Yes.
Real talk. So somebody needs to be at them. And I know that's not my calling, but I'm willing to support whoever calling it is, you know, and my kid's going to be right there with y'all kids. So that's just where my heart at about it. But go ahead. I don't have anything else to ask you per se.
I do have another sister. She is she homeschools. There's actually 2, but one in particular I'm gonna talk about. She homeschools her son. We have yet to connect. We still need to make that connection. Her son is the same age as my son, and she wants to get together. So we're toying around with the idea. We're trying to actually get it together and solidify.
Your son 12 too? Isn't your son 12 too?
Yes.
Yeah, my son 12. See, you playing, man.
And so we're actually trying to get together, or we can meet maybe like twice a week for a couple hours, maybe to do, like, I don't know, either do math together or whatever, just so they can be in the same room with each other and look and see. Because I mean, we do a lot of activities. We do a lot of like hikes and field trips and all that stuff. But honestly, I'll be honest, my kids are usually the only Black kids there. Okay. And that's just the truth of the nature. And so first they asked me when we're going somewhere, are there going to be a homeschooling kids there? And I'm like, either yes or no. And then they asked, you know, then they're starting to notice, you know, they've been noticing that they're the only Black kids there. So they like when they see another brown face. Yesterday or Saturday when we went to the carpentry workshop, there was another little Black girl there, and you should have saw Brazil's eyes light up when she saw this little Black girl. And I could see there was across room from each other. There was 2 Black kids. There was across room from each other, and they kept looking at each other. And I was like, girl, go over there and talk to her, me and her, and I was like, come here.
Do you see how that energy that we have with each other?
Yes. So it makes a difference with our brown and Black babies. It really does make a difference. And so homeschooling is a lonely world in Portland, Oregon for little Black kids. It really is. There's not a lot of Black kids doing that. It's really not.
I'm gonna tell you the truth. Back I was in the last serious relationship I was with, everybody should know it now, was with a white woman. And in that community, a bunch of these people homeschooled their children. And me not being hip to what it even was, I just thought it was like one of them weird things, like, oh, they just do that. Or you're really privileged. You're privileged to be able to stay home and homeschool your kids, because it is a privilege.
It is a privilege. It's a blessing. It really is.
To be able to be there, like the money and everything is right enough, or you got a side hustle that's like providing enough. That's a privilege. I wish I could stay
Parents
at
want
home
to
and
do
work
it.
from home.
Parents want to
But
do it, but they just they can't. They want to.
right,
It's not a
right,
desire that they don't have. They have that
right,
desire.
right. So I always kind of like not looked at it as a negative thing, but just kind of looked at it like it was like a weird thing, almost like a cult thing. Now I'm like, man, we all need to be homeschooling
Yeah,
our
we
kids, man.
weird. We
They
weird.
not, listen, you weird, you weird,
I am. I
but
love being weird.
but
I love it. I don't
yeah,
want to
man,
be
I think it's
normal
a dope.
or
I think it's a dope thing, man.
regular.
I think it's a dope thing, though, man. And I just want to see something like that happen. You got any closing statements? Or you got
Closing
anything else that you want to
statement.
share with the people?
Yes. Let me just say to all the moms and papas out there, keep doing a fabulous job, whether your child is in school or homeschooled or unschooled or world school, whatever your child is doing. Keep up the fabulous work, because we wear so many hats as parents, and it's tough. It's really tough. Keep loving on your babies. Keep doing the best you can. Talk to your babies. Read with your babies. I have a friend. He has teenagers, and he still reads to his teenagers. They all cuddle around, and he reads to them.
That's tight.
It's
That's
never
tight.
too. It's you're like, and when I was pregnant with Brazil, I used to read to her while she was in my stomach. Like, it's never too
That's
soon and it's
important.
never too late.
That's
Read to
important,
your
man.
babies. You know what I'm saying? With
That's
your
important. That's important.
kids. Talk to them about how school is going. Talk to them. And here's something I had to learn. I had to learn what my kids liked and how can I fit into what they like to do. It was not always about what I want to do. And I'm still learning that. Like, I'm still learning that today. Like, I'm like, well, show me that. Okay. Because lots of I think that they're into. It's like I'm like, okay, this is some new weird stuff that's going on in society now. You know, that kids are exposed to so much stuff that I'm just not hip with. But at the same time, I don't want to isolate myself so far from my children that we can never connect. So find a common ground where you can connect with your child. It's not always about what you want to do. And so you're doing the best you can with the knowledge that you have. Just keep growing, keep learning as a parent.
Okay.
And that.
And I wanna say, because some people are gonna look at this and like you said, I think a lot of us have the have the desire to do it, but just not able to, right? Just don't have the resources to. So as people hit you up, because they will, and you know, like you're gonna be somebody. I'm gonna stay on your coattail when I'm doing this. I'm serious, but when people hit you up, if things come about, share it with the public. Even if you shoot it my way, and I'll share it with people if it's stuff that more people could be involved with, because we can't do this. And I think that a lot of times we have these ideas and we have the gumption to do it, but then when it starts getting hard, people start falling off. You know what I mean? When it gets realized this is a lot of work, it's gonna be a lot of work. We got centuries of trauma and effed up experiences to fix. And it's not going to happen in a couple years. It's not going to happen in 10 years, right? But this is for generations after us, y'all. Let's keep that in mind. It's not about us and ours. It's about us, ours, theirs, and theirs, and theirs, right? So we gotta get the people to do the work. That's all I'm saying. And I got somebody, like I said, I know this type of education is not my calling, but educating our people definitely is. So I'm with it. And I want to thank you, Vanessa, for your time tonight. I know it's your bedtime. I know you ain't trying to be. Seriously though, you just gave some valuable information for real though. Like, and it's basically what we talked about when we met anyway. But I thought that the people should hear it too, because you got a whole lot of knowledge. I don't think you give yourself enough credit, because your style is dope and different. And I just want to for real give you gratitude and thank you for spending this time with me. And I'm gonna let you finish with the last words. And I just want to tell all y'all, love y'all. I love all y'all Black folks. Go ahead.
I do have a last word. Don't let your fears stop you from pouring into. I know some parents may think, well, I'm not smart enough to do that. I don't have the knowledge. My math skills aren't up to par. Don't let your fears get in the way of pouring into. What you don't know, find somebody who does. Get a book. Hey, learn with your child. I learn with my kids all the time. Because I'll be going through their books. I'm like, shit, I didn't catch that in school. Where did that come from? Okay, this is new. We're going to do that.
Hold on. I want you to get the last word, so I want to tell people, share this too, y'all. Share this, because somebody else needs to hear this too. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, that was my word. That was my word. Thank y'all for watching. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for following me on my page and supporting me through this journey, through my ups and my downs. I appreciate it all. I really do. You guys don't know how much you really just kind of keep me going sometimes. Sometimes it gets tough, and I appreciate the love and the support. So have a good night.